All right, welcome into a new week of Total Bases. It is Monday. I believe our co-host Bryan Leonard is on his way back from Ohio to Vegas, so he should be joining us back tomorrow. For now, you've got Tokyo Brandon and I for one more day. TB, it's a pretty light slate of Major League Baseball, just 8 games today. Of course, the trade deadline happens this afternoon, so we'll probably get to most of the games today. 2-2 day for me yesterday, pretty much a wash. It's kind of how my weekend went. I did give a little bit back after a really good start to the week. How did your weekend go?
Basically a wash for me as well. I do have a 5% play today in Major League Baseball. There's a game I really like. And speaking of the trade deadline, Gausman is now a Cub. So we can tell this time of year which teams are basically throwing their seasons away. And the Blue Jays add them to the role of teams that are throwing their season away. Basically, if you're dealing your best pitcher, you're basically telling your team, we're not winning this year. And how teams react to that depends team to team. The Tigers, after they dealt Scooble, they came out and put a thumping on the other team yesterday. So teams react different, but the Tigers have thrown in the towel for this season as well. So, yeah, interesting stuff going on.
See, yeah, it is interesting. There's time, like, so for example, those two scenarios, we'll just chat about this for a minute because I think it's important.
Sure.
I think it's important to have this mindset going into betting these games over the next week because you gave 2 examples that I think are very good. Now, I agree with one, I disagree with the other. And so I'll just give my reasons why. I do think the Blue Jays are somewhat waving the white flag a little bit here. The reason I think that is, yes, Gausman was one of the best pitchers on a team that doesn't have a ton of pitching, right? They've had some injuries, and they really don't have, like, the Jays farm system is light right now. So I think they look at the teams that they're up against. They say, yeah, okay, maybe this team can play their way in, but like really, we need to start to replenish some of the depleted farm system so we can go into next year with a better chance to actually get back to the World Series. The Tigers, on the other hand, is a little bit different because, yes, Tokyo Brandon, like I don't think they're a great team, but they're in a very winnable division. And I think it was like they had to make the decision, okay, couple months of Scooble, we know he's probably gone at the end of the season. So do we get something back for him and just roll with what we've got? Or do we keep him and then probably lose him for nothing at the end of the year? So even though they traded their best pitcher away, they bring up Max Clark. I kind of like the vibe for the Tigers from like a game-to-game standpoint. Now, do I think they're winning anything this year? No. But do I think it means I actually think the Tigers are a little bit of a play on right now because Max Clark I mean, you basically just called up a starter. I was surprised he wasn't up earlier. And they might just be like, okay, we don't need Scooble. Like the mentality there might be like, no, we're fine. And they played great ball all weekend. So 2 very interesting, I think, sort of opposite end of the spectrum type teams. I'm glad you brought those 2 teams up.
Bringing up an example, like when the Angels, you make a good point and it's a valid point. So I might reconsider my thinking on the Tigers because of that point. Because I remember back to when Ohtani, the way the Angels got rid of Ohtani, they got basically nothing for him, which was ridiculously stupid. They could have traded him like right now and gotten a boatload of prospects for him, and they didn't. They waited till the end of the season and got nothing. So you make a good point. And they responded well yesterday too, so which I was
and you know, I see Russell Deck makes a good point in the chat. They did play the A's all weekend. Maybe got a little fat on the A's, if you will. But hey, you know what? They blew the A's out all weekend. It wasn't like they played poorly. I mean, they just crushed that team.
And the A's
looked
have
as good
won
as they've
games.
Looked.
You know, the A's are not, double A ball. So
yeah, and coming into play, listen, the Tigers are 5.5 games back of the division lead. And they're 2.5 games back of a wild card spot. So still a ton to play for a team like that. Whereas the Blue Jays, 4.5 back, I kind of think you start to see, especially if they make another move. Because here's the thing. They got Gausman. They didn't get much in return for Gausman. Okay. I think they got like Bateman, who's like a AAA outfielder, and another guy that's like more of a younger, that was a move to replenish the farm system. I think the Blue Jays might fade a little bit. And we'll talk about all that and more on today's show. Tokyo Brandon, let's get into it with
the
the
Blue Jays
feature
are
game.
the Blue Jays are probably the most disappointing team of the entire MLB. They went from
Oh,
World
yeah.
Series to dumping the season. So
Yeah,
all right.
and that's such a good point, because they've done it with a really like a very similar roster to last year. So you know what? I'm gonna make a little. We'll call it audible. We'll do Giants Rangers next. Let's stay on the topic of the Blue Jays since we've brought them up. We've introed the show with all this Blue Jays talk. They now go to Houston to set the stage for this game right here. They're only 4.5 games out of wild card spot, so certainly not like in theory their season is not over. There's 2 months to play. They're 4.5 games back, but this is a weak American League. I think in other years, they would be much farther behind the pace of the wild card, and they're still 8 games under 500. As you said, they deal Gaussman. This is feeling like a team to me that probably fades into the oblivion over the last, 2 months of the season. With that being said, today, we're only concerned with today. I did look at the odds this morning, Tokyo Brandon, and said, there is a little bit of value today on the Blue Jays, but then you run into an Astros team playing as good as anyone right now. Someone in our chat bet the Astros to win the AL West last week. I said I thought that was a good bet. How good does that look now after they just swept the Rangers this weekend? So Blue Jays, Astros, how do you see this one?
Yeah. Who is that? Richie Batts. Thanks for the comment. I can tell you watched my show yesterday. So we went off the rails. I went for 2 hours yesterday. But anyways, 5% play up today. You can get a double play. 2 of us 3. I would recommend throwing me in that mix, though, because I do have a 5% play in MLB today. And Adam usually puts 4 or higher plays out in MLB.
I got one up.
I
got a 4%er up as well. Yep.
That's what I figured. So be a good time to get a double play. You get not only my 5%, his 4%, but you get 3 days all access for both of us. So it's a good deal. Go to wagertalk.com and check double play on either one of our pages. Let's take a look at this game. So we got 2 pitchers struggling mightily, although Javier, not a lot of starts, not a lot of innings logged. So I don't know if it's basically spring training for him or if he's just bad. He's never a guy I've liked to back, though. And Bieber was good until this season. For some reason, he's really bad this season. I don't know if he's aging or what, but something's really off with him. Maybe either it's mental or it's his mechanics or something, but something's way off here. Astros are pounding the ball right now. Is any team hotter than the Astros? I guess they're pretty hot. Maybe there's a hotter team, but Boston's pretty hot as well. But I would look at an over for this game if I'm going to bet it, because we got the Astros hitting top 10. We got the Blue Jays not really hitting that well, but going against Christian Javier should be able to get some bats on the ball there, at least make some contact. It's hot today. The ball should be flying a little bit. And Toronto's bullpen is not playing very well right now. Houston's is. So I don't know. I would look for Houston, but it's really hard to back Javier. Houston's in better form and they have the better bullpen. So if I had to play a side, it'd be Houston. And if I had to play a total, it'd be over. But I'm not playing either because there are X factors up the yin yang in this one. So I'm not playing.
Tokyo Brandon, I think of those 2 things. So as I said, when I brought up the game, I did see a little bit of number value on the Blue Jays, but where I'm not sure is like the mentality of the Blue Jays coming into this game after Gaussman was traded. To me, that's clearly a like ownership saying like, yeah, we just don't believe in this team,
We're done.
Which like you were saying, this is a team that was in the World Series last year. And the crazy thing is the roster's not that different. Obviously Bo Bichette isn't there, but like the core of this team, the expectation was at minimum that this team would get back to the playoffs. And now you're taking one of the starters out of it, like one of the normal rotation guys out of the mix. You're really not replacing him. That to me says the Blue Jays are looking forward to next year. And with a young team where it's like, okay, prospects are going to come up and start to play, that is a little bit different because that's kind of what the Tigers are right now, right? You get Max Clark up. He's one of the guys of the future. The Blue Jays don't really have that. So it's like, for the most part, it's guys that went to the World Series last year. And now it's like, I just don't love I just don't love the vibe of that for the Blue Jays. Now you're talking about just team versus team. I mean, again, the Astros hotter than the sun right now. Some of it, I mean, they have arguably the best player in the league right now in Yordan Alvarez. It's hard to find someone that is playing better baseball than him. But where I'm going to look to this is the over as well. So you brought up Christian Javier. He basically had a in-season injury earlier this year. So I'll just get the timeline. Shoulder strain early in the year. He made his first couple starts. Shoulder strain put him on the IL. Came back, had a month of rehab throughout the month of June, where he, I watched him pitch a couple times at Sugarland. He was okay. Like, I thought he was like fine during his rehab. And then since coming back, he's kind of been a bullpen guy. So, and that I think is like the biggest talking point here for Javier, because of course we're accustomed to Christian Javier being a starting pitcher. That's what that's what he's been the majority of his time for the Astros. And pretty much all month of July, he threw out of the bullpen. Now, he threw considerably well, I would say. I think it was somewhat trying to build him back up. I think the intention is to have him start. And then last time out, he went 5 innings scoreless behind an opener. 7 strikeouts, looked really good. However, against the Angels, who I've said many a time is the worst lineup in baseball, one of the worst lineups in the league. So the Blue Jays still have some offense. They still have their bats. And I too am not fully sold on Javier. So I think the Blue Jays could generate some offense here. To your point with Shane Bieber, this was a guy that I thought was a little bit cooked when they traded for him. Now, he had that nice start against the Rays, couple times out, but then he gets blown up by the Nationals. It's very hit or miss with him at this point. His numbers, 5.74 ERA. Listen, he's a veteran. On a given day, he can be okay. But, like, is he going to cool this Astros lineup off right now? My gut says no. So my run projection here, TB, was 9 point. Just want to make sure I have this correct.
It sounds about right.
I think it's going to be over 9. I should have done this math before. Yeah, it's about 9.4. And it's a 9 flat, which is a key number for the total. So I'll go with you on the over here. Probably not going to make my card, but I do think that there's some runs.
Yeah, and we'll see if Vladdy can hit a home run in Toronto this season. But he's not at home today. But I'm just
guys.
Yeah, just poking fun.
Brian Leonard he did not get suspended. He will be back tomorrow. He had to travel unexpectedly back home to Ohio and to a part where it's pretty remote. So he just didn't want to do the show with like very poor internet access. I believe he is en route back to Vegas right now. So you guys should see Brian tomorrow. He clearly is. I just saw him. I saw him post with Ralph and someone else. I don't know if he, so hopefully got to have a little, fun when he was back home. But yeah, that was unplanned for him. So, but we should get him back on the show tomorrow. And again, we should promo him as well. He's still been rolling right along on the bases, and you can use Brian as well as part of that double play package with myself. Tokyo Brandon's got a 5%er today. But yeah, do not fear. That is he is on his way back, and we should have him back on the show tomorrow. So we wish him safe travels, and we'll see him tomorrow. D. Cerna, we can talk Pirates Brewers. Tokyo Brandon, let's go to you for this one. Well, going to you because it's only the two of us today. Pirates Brewers here, though. Bubba Chandler, Brandon Sproat, couple right-handed pitchers that I think consensus people expected to be better than they are to this point in the year. The Brewers have been just, a weird result yesterday, but for the most part, the Brewers have just done exactly what we've expected the Brewers to do for the majority of the season. Now they're back home, though. Kind of felt like they were a little bit inflated here, but then again, it is the Brewers. All they do is win games. Pirates Brewers to you. How do you see this one?
Yeah, and by the way, Adam nor Brian will probably ever get suspended because they're kind of rules-oriented guys who generally are not like live wires, and if anyone's going to get suspended again, it'll be me. So because I'm not exactly a rules oriented company guy. So yeah. So Brian is not suspended. He's the last person at WagerTalk that's ever going to get suspended. So yeah, he's in Ohio. I think he's coming back today though. I will be gone Wednesday, so it'll be Adam and Brian only on Wednesday because I have a dinner party. It's nighttime doing these shows for me. I know y'all is the morning, but for me it's nighttime. So let's get to this game. 5% play out today, by the way. So before I put my numbers in, I like to glance over the game and see what my first impression is. And my first impression is Brewers all the way, especially after they lost with Mizorowski on the mound yesterday. But my numbers, after I put them in, shows me that the Pirates have the better bullpen and the Pirates have a slightly better starting pitcher here as far as expected numbers. Now, I don't like Bubba Chandler. He's not. This is one of those games where my impression and the numbers are different because I think Sproat's a better pitcher than Chandler, but Chandler's having growing pains. He's a young guy. I thought Sproat was having a better season, but apparently the expected numbers like Chandler better and they like Pittsburgh's bullpen better, but you can't deny Milwaukee's bats despite getting shut out. Or did they squeeze one run out yesterday? I forgot.
No, I think they got shut out 3-0 by your guy Walbert Arena.
Yeah, my guy. It was 3-0. But despite that, Milwaukee is still batting number 5 in MLB, where the Pirates are batting 22. So, yeah, a little the eye test and the numbers don't quite jive on this. So I think I'll probably pass on this one. But neither pitcher's pitching well, and neither bullpen is actually pitching well right now. So if you had to bet something, I'd probably look for an over maybe. But I probably won't bet this game.
I think this is your underdog play of the day. If you like it, if I know we have people in the chat that like that plus money, that like to look for underdogs. This to me is the livest dog on the board today. Plus 130. Bubba Chandler's the better, like from an upside standpoint. There's no question that Bubba Chandler is the better of these two pitchers. Like if you're just going off of like upside and like what these two could be, like Sproat, I always liked Sproat. I got to see him pitch a bunch here in Syracuse when he was with the Mets organization. I expected better from him this year, but like to me, like Brandon Sproat's a guy that's kind of lucky to be in a rotation at the big league level. I think he's like maybe like a 4 or 5 sort of starter at the big league level at best. Whereas like Bubba Chandler, if he could ever really figure it out, has the ability to be like he has ace type stuff if he could really figure out how to pitch. 99-mile-an-hour fastball. He's got all of the sort of makings of like that high end, 6'4", like he high draft pick. I think he was a 3rd rounder. He's got all the makings of like big time, big league starting pitcher. The problem for him is he just doesn't have much command at this point. Doesn't always throw strikes, gets himself in trouble where he gets behind in counts at times. So it makes this a challenging handicap because you don't want to do that against the Brewers. Like that's the thing. The Brewers will make you pay. They take pitches. They fight their way on base. Then when they get on base, they move runners. They run. They hit behind the runner. And they do everything. They do everything right from a baseball standpoint relative to the other teams in the league. But if the Pirates can get a half decent outing here from Chandler, I do think they're going to be in position to win this game because the Pirates absolutely blast right-handed pitching. And Brandon Sproat is not the guy that I think is going to hold this Pirates lineup down. So to make the point, Tokyo Brandon, for your over, the Pirates should put up a crooked number on Sproat here at some point. Doesn't get much swing and miss. He's also gives up quite a few free passes. He puts a lot of guys on base. But the difference is Chandler can go in, pump 99, 100 in and maybe get a strikeout. Sproat hasn't really done that as much, and he's giving up far more hard hit. So I think the Pirates are a live dog. Again, not sure it'll make my card because I do respect this Brewers team a ton, but I didn't agree with the price here. Way too inflated of a favorite in my opinion.
The Brewers have a lineup which, back in my scouting days, I would call them a lineup that demoralizes pitchers. So, if a pitcher has like a 1-1 count and gives up a home run, it sucks, but it's not demoralizing. What's demoralizing is when you spend 10 pitches on a guy, and he has a great at bat and walks, and now you got to spend 10 pitches on the next guy. That's demoralizing. And the Rays are like that. The Brewers are like that. They don't have a lot of power, but they just demoralize pitchers. And these young guys are very susceptible to something like that because they let it get to their head. You know, someone like Gausman probably doesn't care. He just shakes it off and goes to the next guy. But so, yeah, demoralizing. I expect a lot of runs here.
Slick Vic, I'll tell you what, Chandler's the guy, jot him down. Next year is going to be his breakout, in my opinion, because he needs a full off season to get comfortable throwing a pitch other than his fastball for a strike. Once he can throw a pitch other than his fastball that's competitive for a strike, it's gonna open everything up for him. You can't teach 100 the way he with movement, the way he has his fastball. What you can teach is a secondary pitch and then improving your command. Those are the two things that need to happen for Bubba Chandler, and then he's going to be fine. So I don't know if it'll happen this year. That's not something, as Tokyo Brandon would probably tell you, typically not something that you're going to figure out in season. That's an off-season type thing. So for this season, we just got, if we're going to bet on Bubba Chandler, we got to hope that we got to hope that we grab him on starts where he knows where the strike zone is. And if he does, like 2 times out ago against the Yankees, he was virtually unhittable. He was throwing strikes. He pitched into the 7th inning, no runs. When he gets into trouble and puts guys on, that's where that's where he gets that's where he gets into trouble. As Tom Fasanella says, he can throw 100 but doesn't know where the ball is going when he throws it. Yeah, that's the book on him right now. And but that is also why you're getting plus 130 with that guy in the mound. The books don't just hand you plus 130. If he was throwing 100 with pinpoint command, I can promise you the Pirates wouldn't be plus 130 in this game.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine if he comes around, they'll have Skeens, Jones, and Chandler. That'll be a nice little rotation there with Keller, number 4. Not bad.
wait till you learn about Seth Hernandez. Okay, that's all I have to say. He's
and
coming.
They have a good pipeline. Yeah.
It's unbelievable the amount of pitching that team has just in the organization right now, for sure. All right, let's go back to, so we were going to do Giants Rangers as the feature because that is the ESPN game tonight. So, but we got off topic. I wanted to stay on the Blue Jays, and then I wanted to get that chat question in. So let's finally go to our feature game. It's only our feature game on this slate because it's on ESPN. So national television here in the States, certainly not the quote unquote feature game on the card. The Giants are more concerned right now with how to figure out how to not pay Harrison Bader after he crashed his scooter. That's where we're at in the Giants season. The Rangers have a lot to play for, but man, that was a real big no-show for them this weekend. Tokyo Brandon, were you surprised that the Rangers just got swept? That surprised me a little bit, that they just went in and got totally bodied by the Astros in that series.
Yeah, I mean, was it the Rangers being bad or the Astros being good? It's probably a little bit of both. I could not believe DeGrom looks so bad. Yeah, I mean, the Rangers, they do have a losing record, but I didn't expect them to look that bad. And
me either.
They just, they looked bad. I think they'll probably bounce back. I mean, they're a mediocre team with a decent pitching staff. But they might bounce back, but I don't know if they're going to bounce back today.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. They have 5. So listen, the Rangers have 5 straight losses after being swept by the Astros this weekend. That flipped them from a winning record to a losing record. They're now 55-57. To me, this is like, I've kind of said this all year. The Rangers are like the definition of an average baseball team. Lineup's good, it's not great. Pitchers are good, they're not great. Bullpen is very deep and solid, but they lack the big-time high-leverage guys. I truly believe this team hovers around 500 all like the rest of the year. Is that going to keep them in the mix in the AL West? Maybe, unless the Astros just run away with it, which is the way they're playing right now, starting to look more and more like a possibility. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. You've lost 5 in a row. I still am not getting like a warm, fuzzy feeling with Cal Quantrill on the mound here. But do I want to go against him with the Giants? They looked horrific all weekend too. So how do you see this one, Giants Rangers?
So yeah, neither one of these teams is particularly good. But Logan Webb is definitely a better pitcher than Cal Quantrill. We've talked about Cal Quantrill in past shows. He's not as bad as he was when he was with the Rockies. Honestly, though, expected numbers put together, I don't have a lot of separation between Logan Webb and Cal Quantrill. I got Webb ranked 15 on a scale of 30. I got him ranked 15-1, and I got Quantrill 16-8. So they're pretty close together, actually. Only a 1.5 separation. Bullpen, San Francisco, slightly better than Texas, but 2 points better. The difference here is batting. I think San Francisco's batting is just batting a lot better right now. Their lineup is a lot better currently. Got them ranked 6, where I got Texas ranked 14. So is it enough difference to play them? I mean, this is basically a pick 'em. So we got San Francisco rated higher than Texas at everything, but what they have like 10 wins worse. So they're the worst of the two bad teams with the better pitcher. Honestly, though, Cal Quantrill, his command and control is excellent. He's not walking anyone. So I don't know. If it's a pick 'em, I would have to take San Francisco, but I'm probably going to lay off this game because this is basically a battle of mediocrity. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, both of these bullpens are probably trending in the wrong direction right now. I there was a point in time where this Rangers bullpen was rated way up, in all of like the sort of relevant metrics. That they're starting to decline. That the Giants have, I wouldn't call either bullpen better than mediocre at this point. Again, the Rangers, I've applauded their bullpen depth, and Latz has had a tremendous season. But I don't know that like either of these teams are better than like middle of the pack sort of relief units. Now, the reason that's kind of important here is I too give Logan Webb the edge. I too give him the advantage over Quantrill. I think Quantrill's a good guy to have on your roster from the ability of like, or from the standpoint of like where he can come in, he'll give you a spot start, he can throw some bulk relief innings, but at this point to me, like he's not really someone I want every fifth day in a big league rotation. So I think based on that, it would lean me toward the Giants. But do I really want to fade the Rangers at home coming off 5 straight losses when they're very much in the mix, whereas the Giants come in 47-65, and you just have to wonder what the vibe is in that locker room right now with some of the stuff that's gone on. So yeah, we talked about it because it's the national TV game, but man, this is probably the one I have the least sort of conviction about today.
And you're the guy who said don't badmouth Cal Quantrill, but actually I think I like him better than you do in this matchup. He's not walking anybody, and since he left Colorado, he's actually been a good innings eater. I would even take him over like some old veterans who are having a hard time, like Castillo or someone. He's actually pitching better than Castillo right now, a guy like that, So
yeah, I guess it's not that I mind Quantrill on a one-off type situation. It's that I don't know. I just feel like I know for a like there's no question. Like Logan Webb and Cal Quantrill are not really like Logan Webb is a far better starting pitcher than Cal Quantrill.
I agree.
It's like that to me is not close. But yeah, I mean, listen, Quantrill's a veteran. He'll get in a groove. Like he's thrown it okay. He's good against Tampa Bay last time out. But like, I don't know. I feel like I look at these two pitchers and like, who would I want for one game? I'm taking Logan Webb like 10 times out of 10.
Agree. Yeah. I think Takatam summed it up well in the chat. He said this game is a vomit. So I kind of agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can we can move on from that one. I don't know. Back in the day, ESPN had some pull. They would have got a different game for their national TV game tonight, but they're like, that must be the best they can do at this point.
They got to spread it around.
Giants, Rangers. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that is, you got this slate tonight. That's a rough one. That's a
I'm
rough
not
one.
even
I
kidding.
get well, Tokyo Brandon. I guess like if I look and you were like pick out what the true feature of this card should be. Probably should be Dodgers Cubs. Um,
Yeah,
that should probably
but
be
you
the
can't
true
show,
that is the biggest game tonight in my opinion. Of course, tomorrow night
of
will
course.
be Tarek Skubal's Dodger debut. Tonight it's going to be Justin Robleski, who's a guy you've liked. It's Matthew Boyd, so a couple lefties on the mound. The Dodgers, man, get swept by the Red Sox, which I have to say, I kind of felt like it was coming. I bet the Red Sox last night. The Dodgers never looked really interested in that series. And listen, you cannot just show up to play the Red Sox right now the way that they're playing. So my question to you is, does that get the Dodgers' attention a little bit? Hey, we just got swept at home. Do you think the Dodgers come to play tonight in Chicago?
I don't think the Dodgers care about the regular season. And by the way, if the game, if you are into baseball, I think the game that anyone who knows about baseball would be looking forward to actually watching for entertainment would be the Diamondbacks Padres. I'm interested to see Fott if he continues his great season, and I love King, so we'll probably get to that game later. But I think that's the game of the day, in my opinion. But so regarding the Dodgers, I don't think they care about the regular season. I think they think their ticket is cash to the playoffs. Their goal right now at this point of the season is to make the playoffs injury free. Otani's probably not injured, but they're going to hold him out. He's given up the Cy Young Award, which is why he's giving up some of his starts. So they're just cruise controlling right now, and you can't do that against the Cubs either, in my opinion. I would think the Dodgers would be the play today just because they've been losing so much, and it might be a kick in the pants to say, hey, let's get this thing going. Roster-wise and bullpen-wise and starting pitcher-wise, I have the Cubs ranked higher than the Dodgers in every category. So this is a hard game to read right now. I do like Robelski, but Boyd's pitching better than Robelski right now. I don't think anyone's going to argue that the Dodgers have the most talented lineup in baseball. I don't know. Maybe there's one other team that's near them, but I think they have the better lineup than the Cubs. But their bullpen is not playing well, and they're just cruise controlling. So I don't know. My numbers say take the Cubs, but I can't do it.
Yeah, I kind of think the Dodgers put their best foot forward in this series. You know, they listen, you got to impress the new guy, right? Skubal was in the dugout last night. He's going to pitch tomorrow. I would be a little bit surprised if like they don't give like their best effort, because here's the thing with the Dodgers, it really is an effort type sort of handicap at this point. Saying they don't care is probably, and I've used that as well, is probably not the correct sort of term. It's more like this team is 69-43 and has barely broken a sweat. They're playing like everything that this team is doing, spreading some innings around, getting other guys in and out of the games, is to be as fresh as possible and as optimal as possible going into the playoffs. Like, I mean, again, if they want to, like, I'm sure the Dodgers will get to the final couple weeks of the season, and maybe that one seed is up for grabs, and they start like again. I think they could like turn it on at any point in time and decide, okay, we want to be the one seed in the playoffs. The crazy thing is right now, even with the fact that they have essentially just, again, I'll say it for lack of a better term, gone through the motions. This team is still 69-43, which is still the best record in the National League. So like it makes it very challenging to handicap this team because like even them at 70% is still better than any other team in the NL. And what happens, like, again, this is where you have to like sort of ask yourself, like, does that sweep wake them up a little bit? And if you wake the beast here, Tokyo Brandon, do you really want to be on the other side of that? I certainly don't want to. So for me, and then the other thing is too, everything is price sensitive, right? So it's like all weekend, did you want to lay a number did you want to lay minus 180 to fade the Boston Red Sox? Absolutely not. I think you would have been crazy to do so. But would you then take this team off a sweep at minus 120 with a guy like Justin Robleski on the mound? Yeah, I think so. I think I would. He's had a pretty good season. So I kind of like the Dodgers here. That's one I may consider for tonight because I do think you get the bounce back. And the Cubs, they kind of I wish the Cubs kind of played better against the Yankees this weekend because I would have liked to catch them like in a flat spot. But they didn't play particularly well either, so maybe they bounce back a little bit. It's challenging handicap. I lean Dodgers here.
Quick point in this. Actually, I want to ask you a question. First of all, I think the word you're looking for is urgency. The Dodgers just have a lack of urgency right now.
Yes.
It's not that they don't care. It's just that they're not urgent. I mean, their main focus right now is keeping everyone healthy, which is why they're pulling their pitchers at 50 pitches and, Bush League stuff like that. Because the manager doesn't care. Let's just put it that way. And he's a moron anyways from the beginning. So, the players are going to play. But let's face it, Teoscar Hernandez is not worried if he's getting signed next year or not. There's just no urgency here.
Yeah, the attitude will change considerably as we get closer to the playoffs. Exactly. I do think there will be a surge from the Dodgers if they start to feel some pressure from the other top teams in the NL to lock up that top spot, but that's not going to come till September. I kind of with you, TV. I think it's going to be just more of the same throughout the month of August, but even a non-urgent Dodgers team is still a really good baseball team. And that's what makes them probably the most difficult handicap in the league right now.
So quick question. Let's wrap this game up quickly, but I want to ask you, Robelski is 11-2 with a 2.88 ERA. Why do my numbers like Boyd better? Can you explain that to me? Because I don't get it.
I guess for me, like Robleski, the underlying stuff says that maybe he's got a little regression coming, which is
maybe,
But again, I like how he's throwing the ball this year. So I'm really not like he's not someone that I'm like dying to fade right now.
Absolutely not.
Boyd. I don't know. I feel like Matthew Boyd has always been like the books always like Boyd in my opinion. Good, gets a lot of swing and miss. He's good on lefties. So far this year, he's having a nice season. 3.41 ERA, 1.20 WHIP. Expected numbers are a little bit lower than that, but again, two starters. I really don't have a problem with either of these guys. So my angle here is pretty simple. Do I think the Dodgers come ready to play tonight after being swept? My gut says they do, but I don't know if it's enough to put me on them here.
Probably the hardest team to cap right now. And Boyd's only 35. He looks like he's 60 years old. He's been in the league since like 2002. What's with this guy?
Taco Tom, I'll give you that. The Cubs have cooled a little bit. They really haven't hit the ball as good as that lineup should be hitting. So, that'll give you two. I noticed that this weekend. I wasn't enamored with the at-bats the Cubs had all weekend in that series. So, they're coming in a little bit cold too.
Neither one of us said the Cubs have a great lineup, by the way.
I have at times this season. I feel like 1 through 9, they're very strong, but like if I'm just judging them recently, specifically the Yankees series, I thought they had awful at-bats all weekend. So do what you will with that. All right, let's go back to the chat. Let's see. Let's go back to the chat. I mean, we're going to probably, TB, you wanted to talk you wanted to talk D-backs Padres. We can talk about that one.
Yeah, I do. But mostly because I'm curious what the chat and what you think about it, because Padres are on my no bet list, but I do have a 5% play today, and I probably just gave it away that it's not on this game. So, but Fott has been having a great season, so I'll just kick this one off. Both of these teams are hitting. I've got Michael King, or I'm sorry, I got the Padres hitting 4th in MLB, where I got the Diamondbacks hitting 7th. So both teams hitting well. Padres have the much better bullpen. The Diamondbacks started the season with a great bullpen. I had them ranked, I think the highest I had them ranked at one point was 5, and they've dropped quite significantly. I got them 21 in current form. But starting pitching, Brandon Pfaadt has looked excellent. He's looked really good. I would love to take, and I've always liked King, even from his time when he was with the Yankees. My inclination would say under, because I really like both of these starting pitchers, but there's no way I'm betting an under with both of these lineups in the top 7 of Major League Baseball and one of the bullpens in the bottom 1/3. So can't bet an under. So I don't know, man. I really would like to back Pfaadt here, but my numbers like the Padres. So this is why it's entertaining for me. So I'm really more interested to hear what other people hear, because I'm not betting this game. It's not my 5% play. Let's put it that way.
So my numbers too, like the Padres. I didn't think they should be an underdog. Granted, they were if they are still, they were a very slight dog. But I kind of make them a slight favorite here. So Pfaadt, as you said, he's been really good since coming off of the IL. But again, I like what he's done. This is a guy I criticized sort of in his like sophomore campaign. He comes out of nowhere, ends up being on the Diamondbacks playoff roster, which was the year they went to the World Series. So the year that they lost to the Rangers in the World Series. It was, I believe, his rookie season. Last couple of years after that, he kind of, declined because he really didn't have a second big league pitch. He was a big fastball guy. That was about it. That was about all he had. And even as close as last year, Brandon Pfaadt finished 5.25 ERA, well under a strikeout per inning. Not great for a starting pitcher. And what I like that I've seen out of him so far this year, now granted, it's a smaller sample size because he did work around an injury. He pitched out of the bullpen a little bit. I like the fact that he's like embraced being a fastball pitcher and sort of understands he doesn't really have another pitch. So he really gives you like 3 different looks on a fastball now. That's mostly what he throws. He's going to throw a 4-seamer, sinker, cutter, and that's going to account for like 60 or 70% of his pitches. And I think it's made him more effective. Now, problem with that is, does the league figure it out? Maybe, because he's really not getting much swing and miss. It's a lot of fastballs, and it's like guys are able to put the ball in play, but he gets a lot of grounders. He's figured out how to get a lot of ground balls, and at least to this point, he hasn't given up like a tremendous amount of hard hit. He also throws strikes. That's another big thing. He's all of those fastball pitches are competitive. They're around the zone, and he's throwing strikes. The only issue I have with him here, Tokyo Brandon, is this Padres lineup starting to hit. And this is a Padres team that hadn't hit all year, that has 3 or 4 guys that are like all-star type caliber players that are well under where they should be. Guys like Manny Machado, Jackson Merrill, Fernando Tatis, Xander Bogaerts, all well below like career numbers and projections. So my question I have to ask myself here is, the Padres are now what? They've won 8 of their last 9. They've started to look really good. Are they rounding into form now? Is that what do you really want to go against them with a guy that doesn't really strike guys out and a guy in the division that they've probably seen quite a bit? I don't really want to do that. The final thing here I'll say is, Michael King, he's fine, and he's a right-handed pitcher, and Arizona has struggled against right-handed pitching. So I don't know exactly how to play this one, but like, could the Padres score here? Yeah, the Padres could probably score. Maybe team total over, maybe an over, maybe the Padres as a dog. All kind of makes sense. I don't think this is the greatest spot in the world for the Diamondbacks. They're coming home from a big East Coast trip, and this is not the best matchup for them. The thing to keep an eye on today, trade deadline. The Padres always get active at the deadline. 10 days ago, I thought they might have been sellers. But, I don't think there's any way that the Padres are trading any of their big players now that they're 1 game out of a wild card spot. And assuming Mason Miller stays around and he doesn't get traded, he'll be available to close this game out tonight because he didn't pitch yesterday. So that's kind of, my thoughts on this one right here.
I know what I want my parlay leg to be in. Should we do it, or do we have
Yeah,
a
go
super
ahead.
chat request?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go with your parlay league.
Okay, if you don't mind. Sorry to hijack the show,
No, go
but
ahead.
uh, I am going to go to the Cardinals Yankees game. We've got two pitchers that I like, and two ways that I would actually bet this. I would love to take the Yankees in this game. The problem is their hitting is just awful right now, and I think we addressed this on the show yesterday. But without Judge, and now Bellinger's still out, I believe. Who's putting runs up for this team? You know, the game that they won a couple of days ago, they won 2-0, and I think that's the only way they're able to win games at this point is if it's a 3-1, 2-0 kind of game. I don't think they're capable of winning like a 7-4 game right now. I got both of these lineups 24 or worse. And I've got Cam Schlittler top 5 out of 250 pitchers, although he has had some bumps in his road since the All-Star break. I think he's had two kind of starts that we didn't expect. I think I lost one of those betting on him too, but should be able to bounce back against this porous St. Louis lineup. McGreevy, his expected numbers are not very good. And if you look at his surface numbers, a 3.57 ERA is kind of shiny in today's MLB. But his expected ERA and his FIP, etc., tell me that he's getting a little bit lucky. But you don't need a lot of luck against this lineup. The Yankees just look terrible. I would take the Yankees on the side, but what I like even better is the first 5 innings under. Sorry, I did not look up what it is, but if you can get a 4.5 here, that would be golden. I would take that. Let me take a look at what it is right now because Brian, our trustworthy stat guy, is not here. So I got first half under 4.5 is -125. I think that's going to be my parlay leg. It's 125 on Pinnacle, so I don't know what the American books have, but.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for you as well right here just to
Okay,
yeah,
thank
I
you.
know Brian's always got the odd screen up.
Yeah, Brian is our human encyclopedia and weatherman.
Brian's
And when
got the
he's
odd
gone,
screen
yeah,
up.
we're
So
lacking
first
a little
5,
bit of a yeah.
I think first 5 under in this one. 4 is going to be the
I
way
love
you
it.
have to go. Yeah, 4 is going to be the
Oh,
way you have to go.
okay.
4.5s are not
Plus
really prevalent.
107.
So
4 is
yeah,
plus
you can get
107.
so 4 under 4 most places is like -105, -110. It's
Really?
fair. It's like it's yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, this one may
I'll
have
take
moved
4.
a little bit. So we'll take
Okay.
but I definitely agree with that because I kind of think McGreevy pitches a little bit better here. You know, I understand Luis Garcia gets traded. I guess I would expect him to be in the lineup tonight. I don't see why he wouldn't just I don't see why he wouldn't just be out there tonight. I don't think he played yesterday, and that Washington, wherever Washington was to get to Yankee Stadium, I can't see why he wouldn't be out there. So that absolutely 100% in the short term is going to improve the Yankee lineup. But like it's still I still have some concerns with the Yankee lineup right now. Like yes, that's a huge upgrade, but I still think that lineup needs a little help. So and Schlitt, like I kind of think Schlittler might come in and just lock down the Cardinals. He's in my opinion he's sort of due for like a wipeout good start. So yeah, I can't argue with you there. We'll call it so first 5 in the Yankee Cardinal game. We'll call it under 4 -110 is what seems fair right now.
Okay, we'll take that. We'll go with that. That's going to be my parlay leg. Neither one of these lineups can produce anything, and you got Cam Schlittler on the mound. I think the only way this loses is if the Yankees get 4 on McGreevy. It could happen, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I think your handicap for this, because I'm pretty confident in Schlittler pitching well. I think you got to decide if you trust McGreevy or not. And to his because we've talked about McGreevy and his the underlying stuff suggesting that he had a couple blowups coming in his future. He just had one in his last start, and he's done a good job of making sure that those blowups are few and far between. So The last time he really got pounded, I think he sort of bounced back from that and had like a good month. And of course, his last start, and I'm just going to try to get get his numbers up here because I believe it was against the Cubs, and it was probably one of the worst starts of his career. One and 2/3, 7 runs on 8 hits, totally blown up. Last time he had a start that was even remotely close to that, he came out with 6 scoreless the next game. Well, is he going to shut the Yankees out over 6 innings? Probably not. But like, would I be that surprised if he's just out there sort of throwing strikes and gets through the first time through the order unscathed?
Give up 2, maybe.
Maybe give up 2. Listen, if he gives up 3, over 5, there's a good chance you're still winning this bet because Schlittler can be that good. So yeah,
if he gives up that many, to be honest, these Yankees just can't hit right now.
Yeah, and like I said, Luis Garcia is going to help that in that regard, and I do expect him in the lineup. But my projection for a game total here, is right around 8. So
half of that.
And I don't have this is Brian will be back, by the way, and he'll be all over toggling the odd screens. But I do think my numbers here are shaded slightly toward the under. So I would agree with you. I don't really have anything else any other way I want to go in that game. What I will say, my parlay leg is going to be in this one. So Alex Rand says, can we talk my Nats, especially after trading Garcia? I love the move for the Nationals. Listen, the Nationals right now remind me of the Cubs about 10 years ago when Theo Epstein took over the Cubs. I think his name's Paul Taboni. The new like GM for the Nats. So he comes from the Red Sox organization, 36 years old, young guy. Right now, the Nationals feel like what like the Cubs felt like to me in like 2014 when they were starting to get like Javi Baez, like some of these other young guys were coming, Addison Russell coming through the ranks, and it was like, oh, like they've got this team's going to be real good. And then suddenly, like overnight, the next year they won like 97 games. I really feel like that's what the Nats feel like to me right now. I love this guy, Taboni, who's like their GM, and I love the trade that he made here. Now, I don't know if the Nationals are going to make the playoffs this year or win something this year, but without a doubt, he just improved this bullpen like tenfold in one shot because the Nats bullpen has been so bad that like Giovanni Cruz and Jake Bird are probably the 2 best relievers on this team right now. And he got them and 2 prospects thrown in for Luis Garcia. Now, you can say, like, okay, he's given up Curtis Mead and he's given up Luis Garcia, and this is a big reason that the Nationals have had such a good offense this year. But for Mead, you just slid Brady House in. And, you know, I see enough upside with some of the other like hitters on this Nats team that I think they might be able to replace some of the Luis Garcia production. He also might be betting on the fact that Garcia might not have the same second half that he did the first half. So, Alex, to answer your question, I absolutely love this trade for the Nationals. I think they got better. Again, I don't know the availability, but I'd have to imagine that these guys are available to play tonight. I don't see why they wouldn't be. And so I really like the Nationals here. What I'm going to do for the parlay, listen, I said the Pirates made a lot of sense as well, which I still think they do. Pirates and Nationals, Tokyo Brandon, are 2 underdogs that I really, really think are live today. So I'm going to let you talk Nats Phillies, and while you do that, I'm going to decide which one I want to throw.
You're going to decide? Okay.
Yeah.
So the Nationals still have not decided who they're going to start in this game. Do you have information on that, who they're starting? Or is it a bullpen game?
I saw Trevor Williams on one of the sites.
Makes sense.
I think either way, I do think they'll probably put someone in front of him. So it's probably like an opener bulk type situation.
That makes sense. So before the trade, Washington's hitting number 4 in MLB. They got some good hitters. I mean, I love CJ Abrams. He's one of my favorite players to watch. He's just electric. He's a good baseball player. They've got talent, even though they traded one of their good hitters. The Phillies playing a little uninspired right now, but you know, I got them ranked. The Phillies, I've got them ranked like really mediocre at everything. Like right around 15 in hitting, right around 15 in bullpen, maybe a little higher than 15 in bullpen. And I got Nola ranked 19 on a curve of 30 out of starting pitchers. Not very good against the batters he's facing today. His OPS is right under 700, so he's handled them fairly well. But Washington's hitting is great. Their bullpen has been trash, but they did improve that with the trade. Whether these guys, for baseball, it's not like basketball where you got to, time out your passes and set up pick and rolls and stuff. Baseball is a pretty individual sport, to be honest, except for the fielding. And relief pitchers don't do a lot of fielding. So they should probably step in and be an immediate enema for this bullpen. So I don't know. I bet the Nationals the other day at plus 160 against the Braves, and they got trounced. So I'm a little wary to do it again, but I kind of like the Nationals here. But I'm probably not going to bet it. Too many X factors.
So I don't know if it'll matter.
Play today.
I don't know if it'll matter for today, but the Phillies just traded for Luis Ariz. So there are trades happening while we're on the show. Greg Gross, I have no idea what the Blue Jays are doing. That is a ridiculous. So the Blue Jays trade for Soriano for the Angels. They traded away Gausman, and then they gave up one of their better prospects to get Soriano from the Angels. Makes absolutely no sense. That just makes no sense. That's a minus,
overall minus. So you lose.
I mean, I think Soriano's better than Gausman.
And you got Soriano.
Well, I think Soriano's got more upside than Gausman, and they control him for longer because Gausman, I believe, was a free agent at the end of the year. But to give up arguably your top prospect in the organization that just doesn't make much sense.
This team doesn't know what they're doing.
big splash for the Phillies getting Luis Ariz. I don't know if he'll be in the lineup tonight, but that certainly helps. So what I'll do, again, I think the Nationals are live as an underdog. I think this is going to be Trevor Williams, Zach Littell, and then maybe some of those new bullpen arms get a chance. I love the Nats lineup and the way they match up against Aaron Nola. I think they can absolutely score some runs there. So I'll tell you what, I think it's more likely that there's some runs in this Phillies-Nats game, however you slice it. Maybe I'll just say an over there because I don't love maybe a first 5 over. I really don't love either of those starters. I'm going to throw the Pirates on the money line into our parlay. I'll since it's only a 2-teamer today, I'll jack the odds up a little bit. You're looking at plus 127. I do feel like they're the livest dog on the board today. And so I'm going to go Pirates money line in the total, or I'm sorry, in the parlay. I was reading a comment about the total of that last game. You have a total as your parlay leg. So today's parlay is going to be Pirates on the money line for me, plus 127. And Tokyo Brandon is going to go Cardinals, Yankees. That is a first 5 under 4. So Cardinals, Yankees, first 5 under 4, minus 110. Pirates on the money line, plus 127. Tokyo Brandon's got a 5%er today. So check that out. I've got a 4%er up on my page that I like quite a bit.
Get a double play.
Get a double play. Bryan Leonard has been red hot. I'm sure he's going to have something for today as well. And he should be back on the show tomorrow. 9 a.m. Eastern. We'll be here every day. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more trades to talk about from now until then. We'll see you guys in the morning. Have a great day and cash all your tickets. We'll see you then.